What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well, Worlds Collide has been out for a little while. It's been out for about a week. And I don't like to try and do a top 10 list of Keyforge stuff until we've actually had enough time to play with the games and try and really figure out which cards are good. Well, the good news is I think we've had a bit of time to figure it out now, so with that said, let's have a chat about the top 10 cards from logos in Worlds Collide. Huge shout out to the people over on the Facebook group that helped me out with the poll, though this particular poll was not up for very long because I wanted to get the video done. And also remember, this is Worlds Collide only cards, so there will be some very good logos cards which are not in the list because they've been in other sets previously. So, weirdly, no honourable mentions here, straight in at number 10 with Dataforge. Now, Dataforge, to me, is a weird one, because nobody actually voted for it in the poll as one of the best cards from Worlds Collide. But I'm sorry, I refuse to not have it on the list. I'll put it at number 10, I respect the poll to a degree, but I think this is a wonderful card. Gives you an amber bonus, and when you play it, you may forge a key at plus 10 current cost, reduced by 1 amber for each card in your hand. It's pretty much like key abduction, except it's actually an objectively worse version of key abduction, because you see, key abduction gives you an amber bonus and forges at plus 9 current cost after returning each Mars creature to your hand. But you know what? Actually, that means you got more cards in hand. So why do I like Dataforge so much? And the answer is, Logos is a house which draws cards and archives. Plenty of drawing cards we're going to see as we go through here. Plenty of archiving we're going to see as we go through here. Drawing means you've got more cards in hand. Archiving means you've got a bunch of cards you can choose to pick up at the beginning of your turn if you so wish. And all that basically adds up to the perfect key cheating card for logos. This ain't no Redacted, which, I mean, I love the design of Redacted, but let's face it, it was always kind of terrible. This is a good card. In at number 9, Zenzizenzizenzic, the leader of logos. 4 power, 2 armor, and during your draw card step, if it is in the center of your battle line, you refill your hand to 2 additional cards. Think of it like a double mother. The thing is, it's got to be in the center of your battle line at the end of your turn. And we can compare this to something like Eldest Bear, for instance, which just has to be in your battle line when it fights, which could be at any point in the game. Drawing an extra 2 cards at the end of your turn, I mean, to put that into context, right, you're drawing until you've got 6 in hand. So you're probably only drawing 2 or 3 most turns, maybe 4. If you then add 2 to that, that's ridiculous, but it's awkward. There will be times where you go, right, I'm going to, wait a second. If I play this creature I want to play, then Zenzizenzizenzic is no longer in the center of my battle line. No, ladies and gentlemen. Just no, frankly. Great card, very awkward. Why is it number 9? In at number 8, the combination of Velum and Hyde. You can't separate these two out, even to the point where Velum is a special rare which only appears in decks with Hyde. They come as a pair. Velum's got 2 power, Hyde's got 4, and both of them, when you reap, you do something. Hyde, you draw a card, Velum, you archive a card. But if you've got the other one in play, you do double. So if you've got Velum in play, Hyde draws 2. If you've got Hyde in play, Velum archives 2. Drawing 2 cards is really good. Archiving 2 cards is really good. And they've both got a destroyed skill whereby you archive the other one from your discard pile. If you do, i.e. if it's in your discard pile, you get to archive that one as well. And oh look, now they're both archived. And now you can drag them both out of your archive and play them at the same time, so they're back ready as a pair. The first time in the game that one of them gets destroyed, it won't work. After that, you should be good to go. really, really nice pair of cards. In at number 7, the wonderfully named and wonderfully designed Code Monkey. 3 power, 0 armor, and it has deploy, which is to say you can place it in your battle line anywhere you like. It does not have to go on the flank like a regular creature. And when you play, you archive each neighbouring creature, and we said that archiving can be very good, but if those creatures share a house, you gain 2 amber. So if you play Code Monkey correctly, you're archiving 2 creatures and gaining 2 amber. That's pretty wonderful. And you know the other thing that's great about this? What I've always said in a bunch of videos, the ideal situation is that you archive 1 house so that you have a Shadows turn and you pick up 6 Shadows cards from your archive, have a Nuts turn. This allows you to try and make sure that you're archiving from 1 house so you get that monster turn. You got to set this up, you got to try and make sure there are 2 cards or 2 creatures that share a house next to each other, but if you do, job's a good 'un. Job's a good 'un. In at number 6, we've got Information Exchange. When you play it, you steal an amber. If your opponent stole amber from you on their previous turn, you steal 2 instead. I mean, at the very least, this steals you an amber. Stealing an amber is good. You gain an amber, your opponent loses an amber. It's a good thing. But if your opponent stole from you last turn, you steal 2. It's an anti-stealing card. It's not the most phenomenal anti-stealing card ever, but it at least will make your opponent think twice. They're not going to drop an urchin to steal 1 amber if they know that you've got the chance of stealing 2 amber next turn. I mean, the thing that really makes me see how good this is that if we look at Swindle, a card from Age of Ascension which has seen a lot of play, that is an Alpha and Omega card. It's the only thing you do on your turn other than forging a key if you can and drawing until you've got 6 cards and all that. And that just steals 3. This can steal 2, and it's not an Alpha card, it's not an Omega card, and you can do whatever else you like as well. Yeah, this sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. In at number 5, Mimic Gel. How good is Mimic Gel? The answer is, it depends. Like all the best business questions. 0 power, 0 armor, but that's not really true. You see, you can only play it if there is at least 1 other creature in play, and it enters as a copy of another creature in play, except it belongs to house logos. Cool. Now, what I really love about this is that your opponent can have this really good, amazing creature, and you just get to copy it. Something like a Time Traveler that gives you an amber and you draw 2 cards. Yeah, you're good. That sounds quite nice. Something like an Ember Imp that stops you playing more than 2 cards in a turn. Yeah, you're good. I love Mimic Gel. Mimic Gel's one of those weird cards where there are going to be plenty of games when it's just bad and pointless and no one's ever going to want to use it, but there are also going to be plenty of good stuff. So you know what? I like Mimic Gel. In at number 4, Hologrammophone. Gives you an amber bonus, it's an artifact, and it's got an action, ward a creature. Now, warding is one of these new mechanics that came around in Worlds Collide, and what it essentially does is you put a ward counter on a creature, and then the next time they would be damaged, destroyed, or removed from play, you remove the ward counter instead, and the creature stays around. It's going to be absolutely brilliant for when your opponent wants to play something like an unlocked gateway, for instance, which would destroy every creature, except the ward counter saves you. And the great news here is that you put a ward counter on a creature during your Logos turn, and then the next turn your opponent kind of has to get rid of the ward counter, or else next time you have a Logos turn, you're going to ward another creature, and then another creature, and then another creature. You see where I'm going with this? You can basically build up a line of invincible creatures. That's why I love Hologrammophone. Or maybe you've just got one creature you really want to keep in play. This will do it very nicely. Now, the sad thing for me is that we don't have Professor Sutterkin in Worlds Collide. If you can find Hologrammophone with a Legacy Sutterkin, oh my goodness, I'm loving it. Because Professor Sutterkin, when you reap, you draw a card for each friendly Logos creature. The problem is that it's a 2-power creature with no elusive. This would give it a much better chance of sticking around. In at number 3, we've got Daughter. And if Daughter sounds like Mother, it should. It's Mother. Except instead of having 5 power, it's got 2, and it gains elusive. During your draw card step, you refill your hand to 1 additional card. And on the one hand, this isn't terribly exciting because we've had Mother for a while. It was actually in Call of the Archons. But it doesn't matter because it's really good. Like, really good. Put simply, having extra cards is better. I've seen plenty of games, I've commentated plenty of games, I've played plenty of games where one player just has more cards than the other. It means that you're playing more cards during your turn. It means that you're just doing more stuff. You're stealing more, you're gaining more amber, you're playing more creatures, you're having a bigger battle line. Everything you want to do, you get to do more of. That gives you a huge advantage. In at number 2, Tautau Vapors. It is an action card that doesn't give you an amber bonus, but you draw 2 cards and archive a card. Well, I've spent a lot of this video talking about the virtues, espousing the virtues of drawing and archiving cards. It's what Logos does. This does both. You get to draw 2 cards, which is very good. There aren't that many cards that let you draw more than 1. And you get to archive a card, but it is specific, deliberate archiving. You archive the card that you want to archive. It's not random, so you get to either build up an archive of 1 house for the monster turn we mentioned earlier, or take a card like Dataforge and go, I'm not ready for it yet, but when I am, I'm going to bring it out and it's going to be amazing. Save a Mimic Gel for when your opponent plays that big creature that you know they've got in their deck, especially in Archon where you get to look at their list beforehand. Great card. It just lets you cycle through your deck faster. And I've just talked about drawing extra cards is an advantage, but drawing 2 and archiving 1, remember that archiving 1 means you've got 1 fewer card in your hand, which means at the end of your turn you're drawing 1 extra card, so it's kind of works out to a draw 3. It's phenomenal. But in at number 1, and I don't think it's close, I would have put this number 1 regardless of what the poll said. Just so happened the poll was in total agreement. It's EDAI Edie 4x4. And I really don't think this is in any way, shape or form close. It is phenomenal. 3 power, 0 armor, and when you play it, you archive a card. Archiving a card is fine. But your opponent's keys cost +1 for each card in your archive. And here's the thing. You might only get 1 turn of this. But if you stop your opponent forging a key, that means at the least this turns into miasma. And you don't get an amber bonus, but you do archive a card. At the least you stop your opponent forging for a turn. This is one of these ultimate burn the witch cards. Your opponent has to go after this. If they don't, it's going to be a very, very bad day. If you can get, say, 6 cards in your archive, your opponent's keys cost 6 more. When we talk about phenomenal cards like Lash of Broken Dreams that increase the cost of forging by 3, that should show you what you can do here. There will be decks out there that have the opportunity to archive 10, 12, 14 cards and have Edie in. And the best your opponent can do is not forge a key on their next turn and then take down Edie. But there's still been a turn where they can't forge a key. That is the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, they're not forging turn after turn after turn after turn after turn. Edie is great, ladies and gentlemen. And I do think, like I say, the poll was overwhelming that this was number 1. But regardless, I am absolutely and I don't feel like this for every house, but I am absolutely without doubt that this is the best card in Logos, at least new card, in Worlds Collide. But I'd like to know your opinions, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to know what you think about this. And of course, if you would be so kind as to do a complete top 10 list, I would be rather delighted indeed. Go nuts in the comment section, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Keyforge and all other games, and it's a lot of fun. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio. If you want to support the channel, that's the best place to do so. But you can also get weekly bonus podcasts, demand I make videos, and all kinds of other fun stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.